And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth, and all the blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shall thou be in the city, and blessed shall be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, and the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be of thy basket and thy store. Blessed shall thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shall be when thou comest out. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee, and smite before thine face. They shall come out against thee one way, and flee before thee 7 ways. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee and thy storehouses, and all that thou settest thine hand unto, and he shall bless thee into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. The Lord shall establish thee in a holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, and walk in his ways. And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. The Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, and the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy ground, and the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee. The Lord shall open unto thee in his good treasure the heaven, to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thy land. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord and thou God, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. It shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all these commandments and his statute which I command this day, and that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall be thou in the city, and cursed shall be thou in the field. Cursed shall be in thy basket, and thy store. Cursed shall be in thy fruit of body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall be when thou comest in, and cursed shall be when thou goest out. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all thou settest thine hand unto to do, until thou be destroyed, until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, where thou hast forsaken me. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with the consumption, and with the fever, and with the inflammation, and with the extreme burning, with the sword and the blasting, and with mildew. They shall pursue thee until thou perish. And thou heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. The Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee, until thou be destroyed. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go up one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be moved until all the kingdoms of the earth. And thou carcase shall be met unto the fowls of the air, unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch whereof thou cannot be healed. The Lord shall smite thee with the madness and blindness and astonishments of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday, and as the blind gropeth in the darkness, and shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt not have none to rescue them. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto other people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long. And there shall be no might in thy hand. The fruit of thy land and the fruit of thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed away, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore box that cannot be healed, from the soles of thy foot unto the top of thy head. The Lord shall bring unto thee thy king, which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation, which neither thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shalt gather but little in. The locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coasts, but thou shalt anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive shall cast his fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All thy trees and fruits of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend unto thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statute which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign, for a wonder upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of the heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness, and of all want of all things. And he shall yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, and shew favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruits of thy cattle and the fruits of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave neither corn, wine, or oil, or increase of kine of flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. He shall besiege thee in the thy gates until thy high and fence walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout the land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout the land which the Lord thy God hath given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruits of thine own body, and the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughter, which the Lord thy God hath given thee in the siege, and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So that the man that is tender among you, very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, towards his wife of his bosom, toward the remain of his children which he shall leave. So he shall not give to any of them flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. The tender and delicate woman among you, which not shall adventure to the sole of her foot among the ground of delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, and towards her daughter, and towards her son, and towards her daughter, and towards her young one that cometh between her feet, and towards her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for one of all things, secretly in sedge and straitness, wherewith the thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in his book, that thou mayest fear the glorious, the fearful name, the Lord thy God, then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and the long continuous, and sore sickness, and long continuous. Moreover, he bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness, every plague, which is not written in the book of his law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. And ye shall be left in few numbers, whereas the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. And it shall come to pass that the Lord rejoice over you to do you good, to multiply you. So the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you, and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And the Lord shall scatter thee among people from one end of to the earth and to the other. And thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall any sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and a failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thou shalt And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and thou shalt have none assurance of life in the Lord. Shalt thou say, would God if it were even? Thou shalt say, would God if it were morning, for the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. And the Lord shall bring thee into the Egypt again with ships, by the whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold upon your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. It's one of my favorites.